Good.
We're good?
Yep.
We great?
We're great.
Are you great?
Yep.
All right. Hillary, you great?
I'm great.
All right. Hello, everybody. Grady Bolton here, the American Agency Beyond. Excited to be on here with you today. We've got our man Justin Au joining us shortly. Hall of Fame producer. You saw it on the flyer. 87K top month. Wrote over 50 last month. Would continually write 80 if he was not focused right now on building a team. So very excited to have him on here in just a few minutes. Been a fantastic story, fantastic guy, incredible background. But one of the things he shared with me, which is what I hope will help you go bring more people to this call with us, is that he consistently every 3 to 6 months, he said he goes out and buys a $6,000 to $10,000 sales course to evolve himself, to increase his knowledge, which then will increase his skills when he applies that knowledge, which then makes him more valuable to the marketplace. So very cool. I can't wait to hear more about that. But one of my favorite lines, I got a lot of favorite lines, but one of my favorite lines is a party is more fun with more people, unless it's in my backyard and it's after a soccer game and my wife is tired. Then it's not more people. It's 20 is enough. So, but this party is always fun with more people. So you can take the link, theamericanagency.com/live, share that in your WhatsApps, your GroupMes, your Telegrams, your Slacks, your Discords, etc. On top of that, we're live on Instagram right now at The Best Business Ever. We're live on YouTube, and we're also live on Facebook. So many different places you can watch us from, as well as share. We do our best to get this information out weekly to you, and I'm super excited to have Justin on here in just a couple minutes to dig in deep on what he does to sell at such a significantly high level. If you're not selling yet $80,000 a month, then you should be, then don't leave. And if you know someone who's not yet selling $80,000 a month, invite them on with us. So without further ado, let's jump into some quick updates, and we'll have Justin on here in just a few minutes. There we go. All right, here is February. So February was one of our biggest, it was our biggest February ever, I'll tell you that. But on top of this, this is our issue paid numbers. So volume that are policies that were sold that then went issued and our agents got paid. So on the American Agency in February, $11,398,368 was paid out in commissions to the agents within our agency to make it to the number 100 spot. So the 100th agent within our agency made over $25,000 this month, all the way up to Sean Simpson leading the charge at number 1 at $93,000 in commissions paid in February. Now, why this is so incredible, February was this year, as you know, if any of you remember going to school, you'd learned that February is traditionally, a year is 365 days and 6 hours. And every single fourth year, leap year, they add those 6 hours times 4 together and make February 29th. Well, this February was not leap year, so it's just a select sidebar of education. So in the 4 weeks of this year, February, the 28 days, 6 of them, our top producers were out of the field, off Zoom, off Kixie, off Lead Champ, getting better at our annual convention in Dallas. And so to see $11,398,368,000 of commissions paid out to our agents in a short month where the top producers weren't working for nearly a fourth of it is incredible. 1,321 total agents were paid in February, and all I have to say is buckle up. March is going to be incredible. We'll probably do 13, 14 million. I would think we'll end up doing in March. You know, yeah, we'll settle that in April. We'll see how we did, but. Just looking incredible, guys. Just great job, everybody. I'd love to shout every single person out that's on this list, but just congratulations for being on it. Couple things. If you're not on it, get on it. Right, that's your first goal. Get on the leaderboard. If you're on it, 2 goals: stay on it, and second goal, move up on it. Right. So that's where we're trying to be. Right. This is our sales leaderboard. Congratulations, everybody that's out there making it happen. We're cheering you on, but this is your business, and as high as you want to climb it's all in your court. So, but congratulations. Yes, thank you very much, Josh. Welcome back, Josh. Congratulations to Sean Simpson. So, moving on. Couple updates or lead discounts. Love lead discounts. Ethos Fresh Cart Abandonment Lead is $18 in the CRM, and Ethos Aged Cart Abandonment Leads are $8 in the CRM right now. I apologize. Starting tomorrow, on sale for 15% off with code Breezy25. That sounds nice. Breezy25. The beauty of Family First Life, of the American Agency, of Integrity, of the Lead Center is that we have access of people to go sell insurance to, right? I think about network marketing, I think about mortgages, I think about real estate, I think about solar, I think about so many pest control, alarms, Dish Network, Verizon. I think about all these sales opportunities, car sales. The beauty of insurance is that people are constantly reaching out. They're mailing in cards, they're calling in phone numbers, they're filling out information online saying, hey, I love my family, but I don't know how to buy life insurance. And I'd like to buy some so I can protect my family. And the beauty of what Integrity has done is they've taken 29 or 30 different lead vendors and pulled them together into Lead Center, which then allows us to be able to purchase leads. We get discounts. We, on top of that, manage our book of business. On top of that, they help scrub it. They're very good on refunds, etc. So if you're not yet taking advantage of the Lead Center, you should get in there, pop in there. I had a new agent the other day. What did we see? What did we pull the other day? Last week, China? There's over 500,000 leads right now in Lead Center. So if you've got your favorite vendor, great. If you've got you're doing your own campaigns, wonderful. You door knock, fantastic. You cold call businesses, amazing, right? Whatever you do, keep doing it. But if you're not selling at the level you want to be selling at, then invest in your business, buy some leads. That's the beauty of FFLs. We pay you really high commission rates so that you don't have to go door knock, or you don't have to go, be the guy at church standing outside handing out your business cards. You don't have to go call your Aunt Judy or Uncle Larry every single time that you need to make a sale to try to make some money. You can buy leads of interested people that said, yes, they raised their hand. I want to protect my family. I don't have life insurance, or I don't have enough, or I'm confused. Will you help me? That's what we do. We help people here. So discount. Take advantage of it. Second discount, bronze final expense mailers. What's really cool about those is you actually get the paper mailer. So you can take that mailer, take a picture of it, text it to Betty, text it to Dolores, text it to Theodore, and ask them to say, hey, we got this request in for insurance coverage. It hasn't been fulfilled by our systems. We've been trying to reach out to you. Right? Call them first, but then you can send a picture of the mailer to them to reinvigorate or re-energize or help them remember that they filled that out. So I think they're like $1.50 right now on sale for 75 cents. Like, what could happen? Go buy 100, go buy 1,000 of them. You're gonna make some sales. Now, asterisks, I can't guarantee you're making some sales. Your sales are based on your own skill set. That skill set is dependent on effort. Your effort is dependent on how much you want to change your life. So a lot of things are participatory in there, but for 75 cents, that's a lot of chances. So moving on. LeadChamp Pro, we love LeadChamp Pro as far as the CRM goes. If you're brand new, use your cell phone, buy some bronze leads. If you're a producer who's at 10, 20, 30K a month, and you want to get to 40, 50, 60, 70, 100, you should be looking at LeadChamp Pro. Go book an appointment with them. Cool little marketing image, booking appointments. After that, the system has 800 pre-written drip campaigns for follow-ups, for I want to think about it, for I want more information, for no-shows, etc. 800 different pre-written, tested by top Hall of Fame producers. Jamie, who created it, has issue paid on his own personal pen, and the majority of it running in person, which is way tougher than what all of you get to do right now. Sitting there with your Barefoot Dreams blanket and your slides and a backwards hat and DoorDash your food. You get to freaking sell insurance from your house. Jamie's written over $2 million of in-person life insurance. Him, Josh, their whole team they've got over there created this product. Absolutely the best CRM I've ever seen. Use code FFL, knock off the price, $50, get it for $247 a month. It's too much to explain. We've done some calls on it, but go look into it. If you're not happy with your follow-up, if you're not squeezing as much money as you could out of your leads, if you're not, if you have business falling off the books and your persistency is crap, if your persistency is not 80, 90%, 95%, you should be looking at this software to help elevate your business. Top people make a lot of money and they reinvest in their business so they can keep a lot of money. So producer bonus, something to talk about real quick. We always love talking about our FFL monthly producer bonus. Why? Because Family First Life, we have the highest commission rates for life insurance sales in the entire industry. If I could do real quick, I appreciate that, Sheila. Drop an FFL in the chat below if you're happy to be here. Just give me an FFL in the chat below if you're happy to be here. So on top of our incredibly high compensation that we have, highest in the industry, we on top of that do a monthly producer bonus, which is on screen. Hit these levels of production, and what happens? You get paid that in a cash bonus. We have manager bonuses for building an agency. Wonderful. We also have carrier cash bonuses that come from selling insurance with any specific carrier. On top of that, we've got carrier trips. And on top of that, we have trips from FFL, which our Cancun retreat we'll talk about here in 1 second. But this is just one of the many perks that you have by being aligned with an elite company, with an elite sales environment that's focused only on you, your growth, the future, etc. And what I always try to give people to understand is, though, we figured out all the ways to not build this business. We figured out all the ways to not make a lot of sales in this business. We figured them all out, and all we do is try to deliver you the absolute best ways to do it. If you follow the path up the mountain, you'll reach the top. If you want to go off in the trail and check out the dark forest or try to traverse a river with no bridge, you're going to die, and you're going to end up back where you started, and it's going to suck. And I don't want life to suck for you. Life is great at the top of the mountain. Come join us. There's a bunch of people on that leaderboard a couple slides back that are living at the top of the mountain. They got a whole big party at the top of the mountain, and there's a seat just for you. So, and all these things, get excited, be proud of where you are, but each and every day, what you have to be doing is deciding to get better, deciding to strive for it, and to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, right? When you live in comfort, there is no growth, right? Where there is no stress, muscle isn't created. And in that understanding is putting yourself in an environment where you go pick up a batch of leads. You work a different schedule than you usually work, right? If you're sitting there at 5, 10, 15, 20 issue paid, you're probably pretty stressed out still, because that level of income is not one that is something that's going to completely allow you to break free. So get excited for this. Thank you, FFL. And our final slide before we bring on Justin. We got a couple more, but Cancun qualifiers. Shout out to our boy David Pania. If you know him, he's an absolute monster. I think he was number 2 on the leaderboard for last month. Like, he's an absolute sales machine. Works with Hayden Hill. But then on top of everybody else, what do you know how many days are left, China? Do you know?
Like 50-something.
50-something days left to hit 250,000 issue paid by the end of April.
Yeah.
Yes, by the end of April. So a couple more days left. There's a lot of people that are close. Check your numbers. Reach out to us. We can help check you. But get to 250 issue paid. You get a free trip to Cancun. This is on top of the bonus. This is on top of the commissions. On top of things. What do you have to do? Buy leads, protect families that requested coverage. I know it's a hard concept. I get it. Most people aren't good at it. But the people that are get paid really, really well. So congratulations to everybody that's made it. Congratulations to everybody that's going out there and making it happen. A couple final things. Next week here in Arizona, shout out to Jay Masca, Nina Hill, and Hayden Hill for hosting a career night. Small little, I don't think it's small. It's actually the beautiful place. Where is it at? It's at the JW Marriott Scottsdale Camelback Inn. That's in Paradise Valley, very centrally located. And career night. So they're going to be talking about the business. Simple overview, a lot of leadership will be there, a lot of top people will be there, talking about the business. If you've got people that are looking into a new sales career, people that are in a current sales career and happy, but maybe want to check out, hey, why don't you just get your insurance license? We've got a lot of successful real estate agents, like 99% never sell a house, and out of half of the 1% that do, they rent one house. And then the top 10% of the 1% are the ones that actually sell the majority of the houses. So top real estate agents are getting their life insurance license, which puts us in a position where they can have additional streams of income. The real estate agent, the mortgage broker, can also go out there and sell a mortgage protection policy to their client. Just some concepts. So think about that. We're going to go over a lot of that stuff. If you're here in Arizona, join me. If you're not, don't worry about it. We're going to start hosting them across the country, and we'll get one out to you real soon. And final slide, Ignite coming up in 85 days. Website, igniteevent.com. We're going to pull that up right now. But if you're a manager, you're a leader of people, if you've got a group of agents right now, talk about the future, talk about anchoring to the future. A lot of people are talking right now about doing lock-ins. I think in my immediate reaching out, everybody I asked said yes. We've got almost 10 lock-ins right now committed. People coming in on a Wednesday, dialing on a Thursday, come to the training, the Ignite training on a Friday, dial Saturday, dial go home Sunday. And I could see a huge level of production. What if we could have 100 lock-ins happening across Arizona, across Phoenix during Ignite? The venue holds 6,000 people. The floor holds 3,000. And my drop dead goal personally is 1,000, but I think we could do 2, if not 3,000 if we get after it. And that's a full day of training. It's free. Top producers, top agency managers, Sean, Mike, all the integrity partners will be here training on how to win in this business, how to get better. the right words to say. On top of that, the networking. So book your calendar. June 6th from doors open at 8, 9 to 5. There'll be all kinds of stuff going on. We're working on some cool giveaways. I can't talk about it yet, but more fun to come. But there's the website. And if you click register now, instead of the Google form we set up, we have a corporate helped me build an Eventbrite out, so we can do better about reminding and updates, anything that changes than just kind of the Google form that we were using. So thank you to everybody that registered on the Google form. 700 people have registered already for this event. So we'll do our best to import it into Eventbrite, but it would not be wrong of you if you wanted to re-register yourself at the Eventbrite link, just to kind of any updates, any changes, any things that are happening with the schedule, etc. So without further ado, it's time for the big show. And like I said earlier, a party is more fun with more people. So you can grab the link, theamericaagency.com/live, drop it in your group chats, your WhatsApps, your Discords, your Telegrams, Slacks, etc. Let people know I'm about to learn NEPQ, which I looked it up and then I wrote it and then I forgot what it meant, but he can tell NEPQ sales tactics that he's paid for to learn and apply to write $87,000 in a month. That's his best month. Consistently writing over 50, an absolute powerhouse for producer. Justin's coming on here in a second. I should have done this with him on, but no, we'll do it with him on. With powerhouse producer. So share the link, invite people on. They're about to get educated from a guy who knows exactly what he's doing. So we say hi to you and then I'll get you into it. How you doing today, bro?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
I'm stoked to have you on. Let me give you a proper intro now. It's going to sound a little bit like what I just said, but I'm going to say it again for the YouTube thing. So, all right. Hello, everybody. Grady Paulson of the America Agency. Beyond excited to have Justin Au on with us today, joining us live from Tennessee. Recently, it's not immigrated, it's migrated, transported, moved. We'll just use a regular word. He just recently moved, give his family a better life, father of 3, and selling at an incredibly high level. Oh, you got excuses? You got problems? You got stress? Dude, talk about father of 3. How old are your kids right now?
The oldest is 6 and the youngest is about 7 months. So
yeah, buckle up, all you young ones out there that are like, oh, I don't know how you juggle your life and responsibilities. Yeah, wait till you got 3 kids and you got to sell 60 hours a week. Come on. So Justin is juggling family, he's juggling his business, he's growing a team, selling at an incredibly high level, and getting better himself. And so I've seen his name on the leaderboard for a while now. Caitlin and I have been chatting a lot, and she's like, you got to get Justin on. He's just fantastic. And I'm like, I don't know why he hasn't been on yet. Like, it's my bad, but we're going to make it happen today. You are in for a treat, everybody. And without further ado, how you doing today, Justin?
Doing good, man. Just trying to load up my calendar and get some sales after this too. So
I love it, man. I love it. Well, good. Well, give us I'd love to hear the story, right? I know you've got a unique background. You carry some designations, which are always fun, but that's a previous career you had. Then you found insurance, and there are a lot of people out there that are professionals that are looking at insurance. A lot of people that are trying to get their life in order and trying to decide what to do. And someone like yourself with the background you have to make that leap of faith into this world and then succeed at just high level gives a lot of people permission, right? And so I'd love if you just kind of take us back, tell us your story, how'd you get here, and let's go from there.
So when I was going through college, I really didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. So I kind of just chose business and then went into accounting. So I did that for about 6-7 years. I learned a lot, but I was miserable there. So like, I just knew there was something more. I was doing people's taxes. I would see entrepreneurs making way more than I was. And I was just miserable. And so I knew something was better out there. And, I got to the point where I was watching Bigger Pockets every day, reading underwriting books for commercial property, all this crazy stuff for real estate, became obsessed, desperate to find something. And it's pretty cool, actually. So I'm kind of an old fart. I have 3 kids. At the time I had 1 kid, and, I never go out to the bar or anything like that. But for my birthday, my in-laws, my brother-in-law, sister-in-law kind of forced me out. Right. And so while we're there, I'm playing cornhole, and I see this guy waiting to play with us, and his name's Jacob Center. I don't know if you've met him before. And he starts playing with us. I'm like, hey, what do you do, man? And he's like, yeah, I sell solar. I was like, really? And I was really curious what those guys made. So I was like, hey, if you don't mind me asking, what'd you bring in last month? And he told me, and I was like, no freaking way. I was like, can I can I try that? Can I
What did he
start?
tell you? What was the
He's like,
number?
30, 40K. And I was like, really? I was like, I thought you guys were like paid hourly. You're on your little segways and like knocking doors. You made that much. And so I was like, can I do that? And he was like, sure. So he came up and trained me every weekend. I was knocking part-time and then finally just fully quit my accounting job. And I'll never forget the day when I was leaving that accounting job for the last day, and your mindset of money just kind of changes. Like it looked like money was everywhere because obviously we look at roofs and you could put solar there. So I'm like, man, money is everywhere. It's literally just, you just have to go and get it. And then so from there, I did pretty well in solar. And then we ended up, luckily, Caitlin Blackburn reached out to Center and we ended up getting into life insurance, and the rest is history. So definitely glad I made that move because with accounting and solar, the time with the family was just non-existent. Whereas with this, I get way more time with them, way better off financially. And it was the best move ever.
What give us some timelines. When did you get into solar? When did you transition to insurance? How did the beginning of insurance go?
Yeah, so solar, I did that for about a year and a half, 2 years. And then there's some laws that were changing in California when I was back there at the time. And so we're kind of like keeping our options open. And then when Caitlin reached out, we're like, yeah, we're fully in, we're doing that. And so I've been
Hold on. What did she say? I mean, she's a great recruiter and, she was rookie of the year, and then she was like rookie of the year again somehow, but she's like the #1 female producer 2 years back to back. She's all incredible. And, Jacob's pretty awesome too. But what did she say? Like, give us the Caitlin Blackburn recruiting script.
She's literally amazing at what she does. It was like a 4-minute call. And I called her. She was like, oh, shoot. Yeah, I have some time. She was like giving her daughter a bath and she broke away for like 2 minutes and then just talked to me for like 2-3 minutes. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. So to be honest, I don't remember exactly what she said. I was putting a lot of just going with Jacob. But she definitely convinced me in 4 minutes, which shows how much of a beast she is. And
her daughter's still alive, which is good. She walked away from her. From the
yes, bath. I think that's what happened. So yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Some people that joke goes, people without parents be like, that was a weird joke. But
yeah.
Okay. So you talk to Caitlin, you and Jacob come over, and then what go from there? So what year is that? And then you hit first month, you wrote 87, or was it hard for you in the beginning?
Yeah, I was horrible. Our first lock-in, I remember her trying to have us read a script because I hadn't even really touched a script for I got it a couple of days before the lock-in went there, and it was kind of embarrassing. It was embarrassing reading the script. I was fumbling. I could barely read it. But man, I was determined because when I first left accounting, I can't tell you how many people told me I was an idiot for doing that. I went to school for 5 years. Yeah. It was a consistent, stable job. And so people were always in my ear telling me how bad of a decision that was. And that drove me. So in solar, I honestly kind of became a dick. If anybody was giving me any kind of negative energy, I just cut them out. And then same thing with insurance. So I knew because I was the sole income provider that I had to do whatever it took. So when I first started, I was horrible. And the cool thing about this business is you don't really have to know much to protect families and write policies, right? You literally just need a script. Now to get to the other level, you need to add different things. But man, I worked 12, 14-hour days. And, when I wasn't dialing the phones, constantly just listening to podcasts. I go to the gym, listen to podcasts, play it while I was taking a shower, practice my script. Every waking moment, I was developing myself and practicing, and then working till 10, 11 o'clock at night, calling Hawaii leads, which was 3-4 hours back. So it was a struggle in the very beginning, but I knew that's what it was because it was a new position. And I just knew I had to learn it as I went incrementally.
It's awesome. I think that's the thing most people miss. They don't put in the extra time. They're not listening to extra calls. They're not writing out their script because pen to paper actually teaches your brain to take memories. Because when you just type, your brain doesn't know what you're doing. It just thinks your fingers are moving. But when you write out SUCCESS, you're actually writing out with pen to paper the words that your brain is attributing that. So powerful. Now, give us the big first 3-6 months. Like, what happened? Did you break? When it was your breakthrough moment? Like, when did you have that turning point that really was like, I can do this?
Yeah. So my first month, I was still like partially doing solar. I think I issue paid like 11, 12K. Second
Okay.
month, I ended up having to take a vacation, had to take a vacation, but I took a vacation and I was off for about like 9 days and I did about 13K. And then the third month I did 40K, 50K, 70K. And then from there, it's been average like 50K on average, plus or minus. Right. And so, just a lot of development. I took some sales training for solar, which really improved my solar. And then I did that for the insurance side too. And I think the biggest thing that started progressing me forward in insurance was when I started running trainings. Because once you start having to teach other people, you really start breaking down your own process and why you're saying certain things. And so I think that was a big breaking point, is when Kate had me go on a couple of trainings and teach other people.
Awesome. I want to get to that. That's a heavy part. I really want everyone to hear that, but let me get some more specifics. So now averaging 50K, let's talk about lead spend, right? People hear these incredible numbers. They, we just being, what we submit, generally about 80% will stick. And what sticks, industry average is 70% should stay on the books. Now, granted, if you're selling, if you get better at producing, you've got systems and software, your persistency can go way up. I mean, I got producers that are 90, 95, 96, 100%, some of them with a few big carriers. And then at the same standpoint, you've got taxes, lead costs. I mean, these numbers are huge, right? Let's be crystal clear, but there's expenses to business, right? You open a restaurant doing $1 million in gross revenue, that's only $80,000 a month. Now you've got employees, staff, leasing, et cetera. I mean, you as a CPA know all these expenses. So we want to tell you there's big numbers here, but you also got to manage your money. So from a money management professional, let's talk about kind of business expenses, leads. What are you netting now?
Yeah, so I'm bringing about 20, 30K a month net with the front end and then lead costs. I spend about 2,000 a week on leads. Sometimes I'm trying out new lead sources, so maybe 2,500. But in my mind, it's like when I first started, right? If you buy $500 worth of leads and you're consistently making 3, 4K and trying to squeeze everything you can out of that smaller batch, why not just buy another 500? Now you're in for 1,000, but your cash flow, you have an extra 3,000, 4,000 in your pocket. So my mindset was more of return on investment and then utilizing your time best, right? Because if you're squeezing everything you can and then you're waiting until that same $500 gets you 10,000 before you start reinvesting, it's just going to be a vicious cycle of just constantly waiting rather than just taking a chance on yourself, buying more leads, getting more opportunities at bat, and just significantly increasing your cash flow. And it just snowballs from there.
Awesome. No, it's fantastic. So, all right, let's jump into the NEPQ. Let's jump into the sales nitty gritty, because that's really where I think that people can walk away from this this call today and really take some stuff that maybe they're not doing that they can't. So that's really always my goal. So I'd love if you jump into your script or process, what you set up. Is it text, emails? You send in carrier pigeons. You buying billboards around certain cities where it says hire Justin as the licensed broker, and now it's just like, I've heard this guy's name before. I mean, I'm being silly here, but what do you do to sell at such a high level?
So, and I think for new agents, you should look at it as kind of layering in your skills, right? So like when you first come in, you should have that script memorized within a week, right? That's the very bare minimum step. You can still sell people with that. So like, those ratios where it's out of 10 people, 2 people are laydowns, they're going to buy no matter what. There's those people in the middle that you have to give a little bit extra push. And then there's those few people at the back end that are never going to buy. Right. And so when you're starting out, if you just have that script, you're going to get those bottom 2 people every time. And that's why it's the law of big numbers, right? Like you want to get to those people as quick as you can and calling those people as many times as you can. But once you have that script memorized, a big thing for new agents is how they're saying the script, right? Like your tone, your pace, your cadence. So you don't want to come off too happy. You don't want to sound too dull. You want to slow your pace because you're more in control. And then you want to fluctuate your cadence, right? Because that's how humans talk. They're not just monotone the whole time. And then you can work on your transitions, right? So like a lot of new agents will come in and it sounds very like checklisty rather than like a fluid conversation. So for example, like, hey, like, what do you have in place now for life insurance? Okay, gotcha. And then who's responsible for paying for your funeral? Okay. Versus transitioning and saying, hey, like, if you pass away tomorrow, what all do you have in place now to cover the burial? Oh, okay. And who would be the one responsible for actually having to sit down, plan and pay for the funeral when that happens? Right? Because the more conversational you can be, they're not just another number, right? You're consulting them, you're concerned with them. So first step, memorize script, work on how you're saying things. And if you can work on your mindset of genuinely being curious of why they need this, how it's going to help them, rather than just focusing on, hey, I'm going to get through the script and hope I get a commission, that will significantly help. So that's stage 2. Stage 3, I would say, is understanding now, breaking your script down into sections, because you have everything memorized, the word tracks, but can you go from point A to Z in your head in different bullet points, right? And so that's step 3. Step 4, I would say, is to know the outcome of what you're saying, like the reason why you're saying things, because everything in our sales presentation should have a reason behind it to push the sale down forward. So if you know the outcome of each stage, what you're looking for, now you're going to have more awareness of where the client's at. You can read the situation better and tailor it to them. And then the very last step is that's where you can start, including all those fancy reframes, fancy word tracks that, and like flow charts in your head of, hey, if they say X, I'm going to say this. If they say Y, I'm going to say this. Right. So that's like the progression. And as you progress with each stage, you're going to start closing more and more of those people that are in the middle, and then slowly towards maybe those people that would never typically buy, but you convince them. Right. So I think, and Alex Hormozi, this is a complete paraphrase, but something that he said really stuck with me was, a lot of us are looking for that, the biggest result from one source, right? Like we just want that one fix all thing, rather than just, hey, taking a step forward and incrementally learning each day. Because like I'll read a sales book and maybe get one thing out of that could increase my close rate by like 5-10%. Out of that whole book, just one thing helped, right? So just incrementally learning each day. So that's what my advice for new agents. Now I can go down my process too, if you'd like of what I think of.
Yeah.
Cool. So so basically I'll give you the outline. So, I have my intro, I find out what they're looking for. I give a frame and contextualize the next questions by letting them know, hey, I work with different carriers. We do need to go through some medical questions. They all have differences, right? I go through the medical questions, financial inventory, and then really what a lot of agents are missing is this back end stuff, right? Usually when we first start out, and you can still close people like this, but usually we get medical, financial inventory, we have their age and everything, and then we show them a quote, right? Without really getting any other information. But for me, I want to know, hey, what all do you have in place now if you did pass that could help your family? Okay. Now, who would be the person responsible for having to take care of that? Okay. And then after I know what they have, I want to know, okay, what is their problem here, right? Like what's the significance behind them getting coverage? Why is what their current situation looks like? Why is that not enough, right? And that's going to start building a gap in their mind, right? It's going to build more internal pressure for them to buy a product, because a lot of people, they fill out these requests and they just know they kind of need life insurance, some people, but they haven't actually thought about what would happen if they pass or why they feel like what they have isn't enough. So really painting that picture for them. Okay, now once I know what they have, what the problem is, what the significance is, okay, well, you have this problem. What's preventing you in the past from getting something though? right? Like what's changed? Why important now? And this section here is really where you can pre-handle a lot of objections, because it's, you get those people that are 65, they've never looked before. Why is it so important now? What's been holding them back, right? And you can pre-handle a lot of either fear, reframing their mind away from pricing to the actual value the coverage has to offer. So then once I get that, some people do need some education, right? You'll get those people who are like, hey, I saw an ad for 300,000 in coverage for $20, right? So this is where you can educate them. Hey, there are 4 types of policies, and you go down each one and explain, hey, that's why this one's cheaper, this one's permanent, so forth, right? Then I get like their ideal scenario of coverage, right? I'm not just guessing at the end, like, hey, they need this coverage amount, I'm just going to guess. Hey, they need to cover burial. They're looking to leave behind a little bit extra. Do they know what a burial costs? I'm going to educate them. Hey, a burial is typically 15 to 20,000, right? Are you going to be cremated, or you think you're going to be buried? Okay, perfect. So we can allocate that amount of coverage to this. What do you feel like your daughter would need this money for? Just so I can see what kind of coverage amount would be appropriate, right? So now I have an ideal scenario, whether it's realistic or not. If it's unrealistic, I'll know that I need to set some frames up to make sure to break their frame of that. And from there, I want to bring the emotion back into it, right? I want to future pace out the call. Like, hey, if we did get you this policy that covers your burial, your wife doesn't have to end up moving, like her having that there, how do you see that helping her the most? Right? So they're bringing back some emotion into it. And then you can do a pullback, like, hey, let's just say you didn't do anything about this. Like, what would that look like for her? Right? So now I have pretty much everything I need. The client understands the importance. I know what they're looking for. I know what they're healthy enough to get. I know their income. I should know exactly to some degree what to show them for quotes. And I know it's going to work for them. Right? And where agents kind of mess up at the end is they start sounding kind of unsure of themselves. Rather, you have to be very assumptive at the very end of the call. Like, hey, like, you know how you said this, this, and this, like based off that, what we would do would work for you. I'm going to show you 3 options. Okay. I'm going to explain the product, the carrier, and then tell them the options. And I'll say, hey, like out of those 3, which one do you feel like you're leaning towards most? Okay. But how come that one though? Just so I understand. Okay, perfect. And then I go right into the application. So that's very high level. But there's different outcomes I'm looking for each stage, and every part of my sales process builds off of each other, right? If you don't know what they're looking for, you can't really tie their current situation to that. You don't really know their problem if you don't know their current situation. And then that finding out what's prevented them in the past is going to start building that urgency for them now that they know their problem. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's fantastic. Please drop a J in the chat below. Show Justin some love and appreciation for digging deep into that. It seems like, I mean, it's a lot of that, like, versus surface scratch. It's like you're getting to know them, right? We're not just on a first date. It's like you're on a third date, right? Do I want to go, because the second date might still be kind of fun, but third date, you're like, we're going to either see each other much more, or we're never going to see each other again. This person's crazy. Like, you're doing like third date questions, like. But like from an understanding standpoint, it's all clarifying. Like when you give them the quotes, you go, 5, 10, 15. All right, 10 grand, perfect. That one looks like made sense to me too. No, you don't do that. You go, now tell me why the 10,000 is best for you. Why that one? I mean, I love that. You're asking every chance you get to get them to talk, right? In a lot of big sales, the first person to speak loses, right? That's kind of some antiquated sales jargon. But in the same standpoint, the person who talks the most often loses, because if they're talking, the more they're sharing with you, the more comfortable they are with you. John Pineda was on recently, and he talked about the farther back in the past you can get your client to tell you a story is the higher level of trust at which they will give you. The deeper of emotion at which the story is the more your client trusts you. And you can't do that unless doing what Justin has just taught us all, is digging and digging and digging to get them to feel comfortable, right? Otherwise, anyone can give them a quote, right? But do they trust him at the end of this call? Certainly. Do they move forward? I'm sure many do. But at the same standpoint, are they going to let some other, pond scum, surface swimming nonsense agent come in and go, hey, I'm Justin's manager. I'm just following up, make sure you did a good job. Oh, he put you in Mutual of Omaha? I've never heard that. Some other agent going to come behind you and replace it. No, you dug so deep with them. The trust is way up here. So, dude, that's just fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
The nuance I would say to that is that's like knowing your process, what you're looking the outcomes for is like that first step, right? If you can start implementing some of that at a surface level, it's going to separate you from most agents. Now, where you get to the next level, and it's a lot of what I'm learning now is like NLP, like neuro-linguistic programming, right? Like contextualizing a question so that way doesn't feel invasive to them, right? Because if you come out swinging like, hey, like, why do you feel like what you have now is not enough? Or like, why is this important to you? You might get some pushback, right? But if you contextualize a question like, hey, you'd be surprised. Not everybody does need something like this, right? There's like two types of people, right? One person may have like a big portfolio, 401k, some life insurance already. They just want to leave a little bit extra. And then the other may not really have that much. And, they think their family could just kind of like figure it out. So like for you, like if you passed away, like with your financial protection, are you happy with what you have now? Right? And then they're going to tell me yes or no, right? If they say no, you dig deeper. Okay, well, how come though? They're going to give you more info. If they say yes, hey, like just so I can see the rationale, besides wanting to like get a policy to pay for the burial, what's the main reason at getting a policy rather than just, having them do some kind of fundraising or relying on what you have now? And they're going to sell you as to why they need it, right? Some people get scared to kind of ask that question, but they're on the call for a reason, right? And then you can dig even deeper, like, oh yeah, I'm just that type of person. Oh, okay. I mean, you can give them identity frame, right? Like, hey, your family's really lucky to have someone like you that's just selfless and wanting to take that burden off. We talk to a lot of people, and some people really don't mind leaving that burden behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're always like, oh yeah, I could never do that. Right. And have you seen something happen before, or like, where does that come from? And they're digging deeper. Right. And so knowing your client too, like every client's different. Sometimes that stuff doesn't work as much on those type A people, and you have to treat it a little bit differently. So once you get to the last layer, which I don't think I'll ever perfect that, right? Like it's always something we can always be learning more. You're just always constantly learning the different types of people, right? But I really want to emphasize, like for newer agents, not to overcomplicate this, right? Learn it incrementally at each stage. And once you perfect the next stage, move on to the next, and you'll slowly start seeing your close rate go up.
Why would you want to get this when you could just do it? What did you say? A fundraiser? Like, did you do a takeaway by offering a group, a GoFundMe? How did you say that? Say that again. That was, you don't need this expense, Betty. Just have a GoFundMe.
Yeah, like just so I can see the rationale, Grady, besides wanting to have like a burial covered for your daughter, like what's the main reason I'm even looking at a policy rather than just having her do like a GoFundMe? Right? I'm like, oh, I wouldn't want her to do that. Oh, well, like, have you seen something happen before, or where does that come from? Yeah, my neighbor had to go do X, Y, and Z, and I just want her to have it there. Okay, so you've always just been the dad that's like taking care of your family, and you just want to do so even when you pass away. Yeah. So now he has the identity that he's selfless. He's the one that takes care of the daughter. So that's like where the NLP comes into play.
That's huge. That's huge. You said something earlier. You're talking about burial expenses and then leaving a little bit extra. That seems like these are some like little micro strains. Then you also referenced you'll go through and do some education sometimes on the 4 type of policies. I think for a lot of the new agents that we have on here, how does Justin explain to a client on the phone, 17 minutes in, what the 4 types of insurance policies are? How do you word those, just for some, a little higher level education for everybody?
So yeah, I mean, it really depends on the client, right? If some client is like guns blazing, like they swear they can get $100,000 for $20, I go into a little bit more depth, but just for like the average person, I'll say, hey, you know, there's really 4 types of policies out there. There's accidental, term, whole life, and index universal, right? Accidental, I don't typically show my clients just because it's only going to pay out in an accident, but it's the cheapest thing you can get, right? Term coverage is the next most affordable. It's the reason being is just because when you pass away, it's going to expire on you, right? And 95% of people outlive that if they're healthy enough, right? And I usually say that I'll subtly diss on a product. Like if I know they can't get term, I'm going to kind of diss on it. So that way I can set up whole life, right? If I know that a term would probably be a good option, I'm not going to really say that. But that's what I'll say to the average person. I'll say, and then whole life is, you know, it's permanent coverage. You don't have to be quite as healthy to get it. Because of that, it is going to be, you know, capped usually at like 40, 50,000, and it's going to be more than the other two. But most people do go that route just because it's going to be guaranteed coverage for them for the rest of their life, right? What are your thoughts on that? And then they give me kind of their thoughts. And like, you don't ever want to keep the power with them, like ask them where they think they should go, but you do want to kind of get their feedback and then guide them from there.
Excellent. Excellent. So thank you. I hope that was helpful for everybody. Say thank you, Justin, if that was helpful, because that's always good. It's good to say thank you. But what I would love for you is, what do you do to tie it to close? Like, what do you, so Bob gets approved. He's like in love with Justin and confident about his decision. He feels like he was heard. He's, you know, but still, right? The birds chirp. Oh, he talked to his son, whose son tells him, you don't need that, dad. You know, wife comes home, you spent money without consulting me, right? There's always things, but like, how do you elevate yourself as their producer, their broker for life? How do you separate yourself from other managers, other brokers, or other insurance agents calling your lead down the road and saying, oh, you know, like, what do you do to separate yourself? What's your follow-up, you know, sales made? How do you close the call? And then what's the next day, week, month, et cetera, look like for you?
Yeah. So my ending is pretty basic. I think the biggest thing is like your actual presentation, right? Like, they know the need for it now. They know this option will work for them. They know what it's going to cover. They've bought into it. And then at the end, I'll say, hey, like, while this decision here is coming up, if you do me a huge favor, Grady, can you please save my number on your phone? Because I'll be your agent going forward. Okay. Now, really important, once you get that policy pack in the mail, I'm going to have you write my number on the front page. Also write down your beneficiaries on the front page of the packet too. So if they find it, they can just automatically see that they need it. Okay. Now that policy packet will get to you in about 7 to 10 days. My assistant's going to email you a copy in about 3-4 days or so. What questions do you have so far? They'll give me questions or no. And I'll say, hey, what I do for most of my clients is about 10 days out, I'll do a policy review with you just to make sure if you have any questions, we can go over that. What would be a good day for you? I book a follow-up, and I always do the follow-up. And then after every single call, I'll send them a text with all the details of their policy, coverage amount, policy number, instructions on how to make an online portal with that carrier. And then I send them on their way, and I'll follow up with them later. So pretty basic.
Cool. But you do, you know, you do enough volume that you know how important persistency is. And so it's, guys, sometimes you hear a lot of crazy follow-up, like Digna sends a fireproof safe after every sale for $39 off Amazon. Any sale that's over $100 a month, she'll spend $39 and send it to them and tell them, you know, this is for your most important assets. Wiley Hawkins sends flowers to any client that's over $100 a month to anyone. So, you know, there's drips, follow-ups. I hammer on this stuff, and I always ask guys like yourself what you do, because keeping a sale is almost as important as making a sale, right? It's sell 10 grand, lose 3 grand, have to sell 3 grand to get back to zero is no fun. So I'm sure you've got a process which you've established it. Guys, it seems like, you know, you could do a ton of back end work to try to solidify the sale, or you can do a ton of just front end work, which Justin does very, very well by digging in and building this heavy, you know, emotional depth, long, you know, legged relationship with this client, that there's a bond at probably the end of these calls where there's some significant amount of trust, because there's been stories shared, there's been, you know, heart emotional conversations, And then when you get to that point, right now they're solid. Like if you know, do you know offhand what your persistency is? You know, average amongst your blended carriers.
It's around 90%. Around 90.
90%, right? Like, come on. Like, dude, industry average is 70. Like, that means there's people that have under 70. You know, I think FFL average is 72. That's on term and whole life. Now, our UL stuff is 90, 92%. But you don't sell a ton of IULs right now. Or kind of some, not a ton.
It's not
Decent.
primarily, but yeah.
Blended 90 is 90, guys. So bottom line, if this stuff works, dig in with your clients. Ask them next level. Ask them third date questions. You know, find out. I just made that up. You can take it, but get in with them so that you can really get levels. But that's all. That's, you know, I don't want to say that's just your secret to success, but that is what I'm feeling is the big essence. Because I remember when virtual first started, Justin, and people would be like, they'd be in my office and they'd be like, oh, I just made a $275 sale in 36 minutes. And it was a girl, obviously. That wasn't a guy that I just did. And I was like, cool. What's your follow-up process? She's like, oh, I just text them my phone number and say, call me if you have any questions. I'm like, oh my God. Like there's going to be a reckoning of falling off, because if you can't, you potentially could build a relationship in 36 minutes, but they weren't at that time. We didn't know what we were doing 3-4 years ago when virtual started. But to see how you've evolved it and the depth at which you take and your follow-up process. I mean, guys, this is why you join these calls. Copy, profit, repeat. So any final advice you have for us? Any final insight? Any other things you do within this? Any other books or training courses, audios, YouTube channels you watch that they can learn additional sales stuff that you go to when you're kind of on a down day and you're like, I need to pick me up? What do you go look at?
Yeah. So I'll give you one last thing that I think is really important, and I can give you some like resources that I really like. But like, I think for this business, your mindset is one of the most important things. It's super cliche, but like, I do everything I can in the morning to get my mind right. Like, because I know I have to be on my game if I need to interject in a certain spot, if I need to listen to what the client's saying. So, you know, working out in the morning and getting your mind right. Now, the one thing, and I talk about this at convention, is I'll do a training where I have my agents literally close their eyes and I'll walk them through their own death and what it would look like for their families, right? Like, what would their family actually have to do in that situation, and how nice it would be for them to actually have something, right? And it's crazy how many people we sell these policies, but some of us don't even have policies that are life insurance agents, and they've never thought about it for themselves. So really getting in your mind that, hey, you know, maybe the client doesn't realize that. How can you be curious and concerned enough to get them to see that? And that will change your tone, it'll change how you speak to the client. You're not going to have as much sales breath. You know, actually caring makes a huge difference. And so you have to do that by getting your mind right. And, you know, I do a bunch of different tricks to, like, because we all have our bad days, but getting back into it and getting into a positive mindset and helpful mindset is huge. Now, sales resources. I watched a lot of FFL podcasts, Grady's podcasts. I read books like Never Split the Difference, books on NLP. I buy trainings. Again, like, I'll invest in myself, right? I'll put in $6,000 to $10,000 for training all day if I know it's going to show me return, right? Like, and like I said, incremental steps. If I just bought a training recently and I've used 3 things from that training that have gotten me more sales, right? So I'm going to incrementally start increasing that skill set by investing in myself. But if there's anything else that you want me to go over, you know.
That was great, bro. That was awesome. I appreciate your insight, your commitment to yourself, your commitment to your family, and I'm excited to see you build a business. You know, you're heading for vice president, 500 million. Come on, bro. Let's get after it. You're too good at this to not have a huge agency, and just it's awesome to see you, to spend some time with you, and I'm cheering you on. Let's go, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Grady. Appreciate it. Absolutely.
Got it, man. Awesome. Everybody throw one more time. Give me some JAs in the chat below. Show them some love. Light it up. And Justin, go crush it, bro. Appreciate the heck out of you. Everybody else, thank you so much for your time, for joining us. We do this every week. Got another great trainer coming on next week. Get yourself registered for Ignite. Take advantage of the lead sales, and go make it happen. You got one shot at this whole deal. You know, we spin around the sun 300 every day for 365 days, but you only got one chance to go out there and make it happen. Make yours what you want it to be. And so proud of Justin to see guys like him making the transition from a CPA, from solar to chasing his dreams here with us. So go have big conversations. The power of your conversations determines the power of your life. So with that, have a wonderful day. See you all next week. Bye for now.